Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Monday, October the 2nd. Just wanted to make sure it was the 2nd, 2017. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market. Then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website. There's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Okay, take a look at Friday. Friday, our main hypothesis was an open auction in range, a rotation down into the value area, finding responsive buyers, rotating us up and taking us up and hitting that inverted head and shoulders target that we've been following for since September the 11th. That is now a completed pattern on both the primary and the extended session. Actually, I think it's the extended session. Let me just bring that up here for a second. Or extended target, I should say. So there's the picture of the head and shoulder. No, we didn't quite get it to the 100% extension. We did hit the 78.6, but the primary target at 1074, 1050 is completed. We do have the extended target up here at 33 and a quarter. So mark that down as a bonus option. We kind of went into hypo 3, which was kind of a driving behavior and going up and hitting the daily upside ATR at 1675. We did close on the lows. This is a perfect example of both monthly and weekly critical mass kicking in, and the sellers capitulating and the buyers taking control into the end of the month. And of course, it was the end of the quarter as well. Taking a look at the news for the day. At 9:30, we've got Canadian manufacturing PMI. 9:45, we've got final manufacturing PMI. But the big one for the market is going to be the ISM manufacturing PMI, construction spending, and manufacturing prices. We do have Kaplan speaking, another Fed member speaking later this afternoon at 2 p.m. Of course, the headline news is going to be all out there. Of course, there is a terrible shooting in Las Vegas. And I'm still just waking up to read about that, but that's a tragedy. I don't know what keeps happening over there. Why people got to shoot people. So there's headline news based on that. There's headline news on the tax bill and healthcare, of course, and then anything that comes out of North Korea. So I think we're at a place right now that we have to worry about headline news just as much as scheduled news. Taking a look at the overnight session, you can see that we opened just near the close at 17. We shot up. We put in this new all-time high. This is an unequalized high. Talk about these all the time. Anytime you get all-time highs that are put in the Globex versus the RTH, or in a prior contract versus the current contract or the rolling contract, we expect that there's a very high probability the market's going to come back and test that. Will it be today? I doubt it, but it's still a possibility. So we have to watch out. Strong move up on the open in the Sunday Globex session. We did get the Mr. Sneaky and it rolled over. It wasn't a FUBAR Mr. Sneaky on the 5-minute, but if you look at it on the 5-minute or the 15-minute and above. It did, and then we rolled over and basically, found some balance in around this 25.19 throughout the Globex session, and we are trying to accept price higher after the breakout. The 50% of the significant breakout is going to be down here at 25.11 and a quarter. That's going to be our primary target to the downside, for the next few sessions until we go down there and take it out. Of course, the main target is going to be the naked VPOC with the shift up into this upper distribution from Friday's session. But let's just take a step back. I always like to start my day taking a look at the macro to micro. I start with a simple candlestick chart. I use a 9 EMA, 20 SMA on all my charts. You can see I've got a pitchfork here on the monthly. We are in the upper channel. We're holding the center line quite nicely, and the anticipation is that we continue to rise. In terms of trend, price is paralleling the 9 really nicely on the monthly, and you can see that we continue to one-time frame up on the monthly. Even though we broke the one-time framing on the weekly, we did not do it on the monthly. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months now of one-time framing up on the monthly. That is very, very strong trend. Going to the weekly. Now we did break the one-time framing on the weekly, but we bounced and went and made those new all-time highs. Got good good slope and separation on the 9 and the 20s. The trend is very strong on the weekly. On the daily, we have created a technical gap. We're likely going to come back and close this gap and move back to that. It's likely going to bring us down into that 25.10, 25.11 area. And you can see that on the daily, we continue to maintain this upper channel that we've been in on the daily. As we move to the intraday, you can see that we do have a FUBAR Mr. Sneaky technical gap on the 4-hour. A move back to fill that technical gap is going to bring us back into about the 25.15 area, but the trend is still up on the 4-hour. On the 1-hour, you see that we had a FUBAR Mr. Sneaky, came back, tested the 9, bounced, come back now, coming down, testing the 20. I'd be watching this Globex low down here at the 25.18 level for possible break lower towards that 50% of the significant breakout candle. Going to the 30-minute, you can see that we've got sideways consolidation, but again, we're breaking below the 9 and the 20. And the 15-minute, you can see same thing, and then the 5-minute. So on the larger time frame, we are in an upward trend, but as we move down into the intraday, smaller time frame, we're seeing some counter rotation action, and we're getting slope and separation to the downside for a possible move back into that 25.15 to 25.11 area. So let's take a look at what that looks like on the structure, the big picture structure. A little bit of narrative for those that have not been in the room. We accepted this value. We broke out of the value area high up here at the 24.73 area. That's when we got the head and shoulder pattern setting up on the 4-hour. We identified that pattern on the breakout day right here. He gave us a primary target of 25.10.74, and that's $1,000 trade thereabouts on just a one lot had you taken that trade. We come up, we accept value higher at the 24.93.75, accept value higher, push up, put in the old all-time high at 25.07 and a quarter, rotate back down, come back down, pick up the late buyers, and then last week we were watching this 24.97, And we said if we get the VPOC shift, the microcomposite VPOC shift up from the 93.75 to the 24.97, then the overall value is now being accepted, and that we should be looking for new all-time highs. They came up into this 25.04.75, and they didn't even look back on Friday. We bounced right off that 25.04.75 and went in and put new all-time highs. Not much to guide us up here. I'm going to be looking for some Fibonacci extensions today to see if we've what targets we've got. We have that extended target on the cup and handle at 33.75, but we're likely to come up here and balance around this 15.50 to 09.50 today, and possibly test this 25.11 and a quarter, 50% significant. This is a breakout candle. This is a break from balance into new all-time high. Price discovery. Can we continue the price discovery up? Absolutely. I fully expect that all-time high now put in the Globex at 23.50 is going to take it out. It's just whether or not we do it today, and we get possibility of another continuation day up. So taking a look at our numbers and starting to move them over, we now have a Globex high at new all-time highs at the 23.50. And then we have our 23.17, and that's going to, I'm not even going to put it in because it's going to get taken out right on the open anyway. But our RTH all-time high is still at 17.75. Our low is at that 17, which is basically just one tick above our naked close. Our overnight VPOC is at 19.25. Not likely going to shift. And that's about all the information that the Globex is going to give us. So in terms of levels, obviously the RTH all-time high at 17.75. Anything below that, I'm targeting the 15.50. We've got the significant breakout candle, 50% retracement down here. That's just below the value area, but I'm actually going to use the 13.25 LVN to get into a trade. Any break below that is going to get me short into the 11.25. The current over underline right now is at 9.50. What do I mean by the over underline? Well, over it, I'm stocking mainly longs. That's not saying I'm not going to take a short, but my overall bias is long. Below the 9.50, then my bias shifts, and I'll be targeting that 8.25. Looking for some support to come in around Friday's open, but the next big target below is going to be back down here at the low from Friday, and that's the microcomposite VPOC that we put in before the breakout. So the last accepted price before the breakout was right here at the 24.0750. That's also the VPOC where they were trying to hold value before. So they came back up and they held the value, they accepted it for the second time, and then they got the breakout. All right, and then below that, all our levels really remain the same. You've got the 2,500.25, or 75, I should say. And just in front of that, a target is 150. I'm going to move this down to the 2500, not because it's a centennial number, but because it was the low on that day. And then below us is the overall current micro composite VPOC, which is down here at the 2497. And then that is also going to become our key line in the sand. Now, why am I using it as my key line in the sand rather than a LVN area price rejection? Usually I don't use price acceptance as key lines in the sand. It's because of the fact that it is microcomposite VPOC and we have broken out into price discovery. So a move back to it could be expected, but if we don't bounce off of it and rally, then a bigger retracement will be coming, and I'll be looking for a move down into that 92 and then the 87. And we don't have to worry about this critical mass. All right, so those are the levels. There's not much to guide us above. I just want to see if there's a zipper measured move here anywhere. These two we've already hit. Well, let me just draw them just to make sure. It's got hit. 61.8 was the 21.5. The extended target is 25.50. Type this morning. I got very sore hands. Okay, our 20 period daily ATR is running at 1203. So off of the Globex low of 17 plus 1203, our daily upside ATR target becomes 2529. And off of the high of 2350, our downside, oh, that's not right. What was our high? 2350. Our downside daily ATR is 1150, and that's right at our significant breakout candle. Did I just erase that? I did. All right, so there's all our levels. Let's talk about hypotheses. We're going to be opening up with a gap, so there's the possibility of a gap and go, but that's not going to be my main hypothesis. Basically, I do believe we're going to get a balancing day today. I put more weight on that than another gap and go continuation. This market's got to be getting tired, and with the news, I'm thinking that we're likely going to get a counter rotation. So even though I'm going to be putting a hypo 1 and a hypo 2, they're going to have equal weight, and I almost give as much weight to hypo 3 as well. And I know that's confusing, but the auction is in price discovery, so we have to be looking up. But I also think there's a possibility that we get to pull back to the 15, if not down into the 11 level. So hypo 1 is a open auction out of range, a push up into the overnight VPOC, and somewhere between the overnight VPOC and the Globex all-time high, finding responsive sellers and rotating us down into this 15 area and chopping between 15 and 11 and going sideways and accepting this value higher in around the 1550 area. That is hypo 1. Hypo 2, with equal weight to it, is open auction just outside of range or just inside of range, but outside of value. A rotation down into the 11 to 9 area, finding responsive buyers, rotating us back up and chopping between 15 and 1950 and going sideways. And then sort of kind of equally weighted, hypo 3 is an open test drive, test back to the open, maybe even come down and close the gap or find the 1550, but finding initiative buyers right away, pushing us up, balancing and equalizing out the Globex all-time high versus the RTH all-time high, chopping here and getting a gap and go and pushing back up, and then falling off at the end somewhere and closing around this 23 to 25 area. Those are my three main hypotheses. My secondary my alternative hypothesis, or hypo 4 today, is a open auction just out of range, come down to the 1311 area, chop, fail, push down to the 08 target, chop, and then fail, and come back and close somewhere down here between the 2501 and 2504.75 and getting a take back day. Those are my four main hypotheses for the ES. Taking a look at gold, well, we've been talking about gold failing to hold the 1300 and coming back to that 75 area if we couldn't hold the 91, and look what happened overnight. I mean, I don't make this stuff up, gang. This is not rocket science. It's just understanding, following value and price discovery in the auction process. You know, we got up into the 17s. We couldn't hold, and every time we tried to poke our head into the 1300s, we were failing, and we did try to bounce several times off of that 91 area and then 87, and we said if we couldn't hold that, look for the come back to the 78 to 75 level and see if we can find this. Acted as a magnet. This is the most traded price going all the way back to October the 24th, 2008. So that's a very, very, very strong magnet, and I did not doubt we were going to come back and test it with the failure of holding the 91 or the 1300. So now we're down here. Now we've got to look for the bounce. So I'll be looking for them to bounce up and come up and test the other side of this bounce up here at the 83. Likely to chop around here. We're not going to get away from here quick. If we do not hold the 75, then look for them to come down, test the lower side of the balance down here at the 71. And anything below 71, we come back to the bigger target down here at the naked microcomposite VPOC down here at the 1263 area. But likely going to bounce around here. But watch for breakouts above 83 or below the 71. Otherwise, they're going to likely chop between the 79 and the 75 area and just go sideways. So not going to be a really pretty day to trade gold, because I think you're going to see a lot of $5 and $6 rotations and find it kind of choppy. Anyway, that is going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.